Yeah, but the question is more, how do you get there? You get there by confrontation, violence?
Oh, is that the question you were asking?
Yeah.
See, that's another thing. When you talk about a revolution, most people think violence, without realizing that the real content of any kind of revolutionary thrust lies in the principles and the goals that you're striving for, not in the way you reach them.
When I was growing up, I was taught in American history books that Africa had no history, and neither did I. That I was a savage, about whom the less said the better, who had been saved by Europe and brought to America. And of course, I believed it. I didn't have much choice. Those are the only books there were. We just had Negroes in it for a very long time. If the city of New York were able, as it has indeed been able, in the last 15 years to reconstruct itself, tear down buildings and raise great new ones, downtown and for money, and has done nothing whatever except build housing projects in the ghetto for the Negroes. And of course the Negroes hate it. Presently the property does indeed deteriorate because the children cannot bear it. They want to get out of the ghetto. If the American pretensions were based on more solid, a more honest assessment of life and of themselves, it would not mean for Negroes, when someone says urban renewal, that Negroes simply are going to be thrown out into the streets, which is what it does mean now. This is not an act of God. We're dealing with a society made and ruled by men.
Skinny black girl, descended from slaves and raised by a single mother, can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true.
For generations, we have known of knowledge's infinite power, yet somehow we have never questioned the keeper of the keys, the guardians of information. Unfortunately, I've seen more dividing and conquering in this order of operations, a heinous miscalculation of reality. For some, the only difference between a classroom and a plantation is time. How many times must we be made to feel like quotas, like tokens and coined phrases, diversity, inclusion? There are days I feel like one, like only, a lonely blossom in a briar patch of broken promises, but hey, I've always been a thorn in the side of injustice, disruptive, talkative, a distraction with a passion that transcends the confines of my own consciousness, beyond your curriculum, beyond your standards. I stand here, a manifestation of love and pain with veins pumping revolution.
Hi, Designing in Color. This is Dawn Hicks, and thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit about who I am and the work that I do in design and architecture. And this is I am. I am, two of the most powerful words for what you put after them shapes your reality. And I am Black history. I am a daughter, sister, aunt, born and raised in Richmond, Virginia. I am a first-generation college graduate from a historical HBCU, the North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Made in Ronald E. McNair Hall of Engineering, I am a descendant of civil rights movements, sit-ins, marches, and journeys to the moon. I am a descendant of 22 Black women on a mission to make the world a little better through academic excellence, scholarship, and service. So in 1913, founded Delta Sigma Theta. I am the treasurer of the National Organization of Minority Architects, Southern California chapter, descendant of great designers, activists, and game changers, changing the face of architecture. I am a child of God and made in his image. And because I am, that I am greatness. I am my ancestors. I am my ancestors' wildest dreams, an embodiment of all these spoken people. And because of them, I am who I am. I am design and I am architecture, future architect. And my architecture looks like this. My architecture is filled with design ciphers and recognizing cultural identities, like what hip hop is for the Black community, in order to preserve the rich history of neighborhoods and reclaiming those spaces. Design for me is community-led. Participatory design is about collectively creating strategies for embracing identities and culture and building inclusive and equitable communities. I am a community organizer, centering around advocacy and standing for the rights of people, right for housing, right to be treated with respect and dignity, the right for social freedom and equality. Through community engagement and art installations and advocacy, my work is also about bringing people together for a common cause, not only just through architecture and design, but also through art. My work is about how architecture should extend beyond the drawing board and into communities, from the corner to the sidewalk to the front porch, all an extension of how we connect to our neighborhoods and the rest of the community. I am a developer, a project manager. At the end of the day, all of these things in my career work together to look like this: providing affordable housing for those unhoused, helping to diversify neighborhoods and create equitable communities. And, you know, at the end of the day, there wasn't a seat at the table. I love this t-shirt, you know, so I built my own space and I am unapologetically, unapologetic about that and want to continue to be. So I am two of the most powerful words, but what you put after them shapes your reality.
Hi, my name is Kenneth Webb. I am a contemporary artist and painter from Los Angeles, California. First and foremost, I want to thank Design in Color for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity to share my work. So my work focuses on the Black human experience. The first piece that I want to share with you guys is my Project Semicolon series. This series is dedicated towards those who struggle with mental health issues. As you can see, there's two different types, and this is a little bit of my process for these pieces. They are both digital and done on my iPad. These pieces are basically representing those who struggle with mental health using the semicolon, the broken semicolon, as a representation of them working through their mental illness and pushing through to live a happier and healthier life. So the next piece that I want to share with you guys is my piece called Ode. This piece is specifically dedicated to Black women, not only our beauty and the things that we go through, but also the characteristics that we hold, which is represented in the red line. And this is also another set of the process from me starting all the way to finish and me deciding the colors that I want to use on the background. This piece was done on acrylic on canvas. My last piece and most recent piece that I released in 2019 is On the Edge, which is inspired by the film Cloud Atlas and also inspired by Apocalypse by Justin Sky. This piece is stacked with a lot of symbols, but ultimately it represents when you are close to being at your breaking point, but still being able to hold on based on the things that you love and because of what you're passionate about. That's what keeps you from going over the edge. And this is also the pictures from the process of me creating it. This piece was also created on acrylic on canvas. And that is all of the pieces that I wanted to share with you guys. I really appreciate this. I hope you guys enjoy. Please feel free to follow me on Instagram or on Twitter at Candace F or Candace F _ for my Twitter. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Robert Clarke, founder of RALX, and today I'll be talking about imprinting histories, new architectural expressions. Throughout this presentation, I'll be exploring community-based photographic research as a type of design generator. More specifically, experiences seen through the eyes of the unseen, unheard, and underrepresented. The pictures that are cataloged before you demonstrate the various scales of perspective and experience in urban culture that is often neglected in mainstream media. My work aims to highlight these hidden experiences through architecture and design. Not only these experiences will be highlighted, but the work being done in the community that offers a better alternative toward community unity will also be shown. A lot of the experiences that I'll be talking about can be seen as taboo, things that are not supposed to be mentioned or talked about. However, to not shed light on these specific integral experiences would perpetuate a system of neglect. My work aims to reverse these systematic issues through awareness. More specifically, today I'll be highlighting a huge part of LA history, the 1992 riots, which led to a historic peace truce between the Bloods and the Crips. This peace was created through conflict mitigation. The work that is being done today by Mayor Brown reduced violence in neighborhoods by 65%, not by heavy policing, but by conflict mitigation. These parallels that happened in 1992 and the work that is being done today should be highlighted and memorialized as alternative to heavy policing. So all of this wraps up in talking about not only neglecting history, but by neglecting history, you're allowing for specific alternative ways to solutions to slip through. In this affordable housing project, we try to establish how to create things that point to specific histories, but in an abstract way. This housing project explores pattern projection as a type of hyper-stylized hieroglyphic that expresses notions of unity. This pattern was derived from flags that can be seen throughout LA, however, highly abstracted to also allow for new meaning and memories. This project floats above the ground, allowing the viewers to observe this pattern even if they're not in the building. However, once in the project, this pattern can be seen everywhere, in the living spaces, the community garden, and even the kitchen. This new type of hieroglyph can establish new ways to educate people on conflict mitigation and how successful it's been in recent years. Creating a new expression that highlights all these types of histories allows people to see alternatives to the current status quo that they exist in, and how to get on new paths of mitigation and creating community awareness through architecture.
Hi, Designing in Color. My name is Natou Fall. I'm multidisciplinary artist and educator based here in Los Angeles. I'm design faculty at SciArc, and I graduated from SciArc in 2019. The bulk of my work is actually sort of freelancing and production. So I freelance as an art director and on music videos, also work as a production designer. This is one of the sort of bigger projects I got the opportunity to work on last year was Janelle Monáe's Turntables music video. And so I was set dresser on this set, and it was super exciting because one of the masks I made, or the mask I made for the shoot, actually made it into the edit of the video, which was super fun to see. I also work as a makeup artist. I work a lot with artist Michelle Ray. This is a shoot we did for a sort of promo for a single that was recently released called Dear Hollywood. I also have done makeup for sort of e-commerce. This is the sort of third campaign launch for a brand called Emery B. Recently just worked on the launch campaign shoot for a handmade jewelry company called Studio Rhea. I also got the opportunity to model for the shoot, so it was fun to both like do the makeup and be the sort of face. Speaking of faces, my Instagram account for makeup is called Shaping Face, after my thesis from SciArc that was sort of looking at architecture and its relation to cosmetics. And in that, sort of in working through my thesis, I really discovered that like my interest in both makeup and sort of architecture is the sort of layering of content, right? So looking at material culture, looking at layering audio, visuals as well. These are some shorts I have been working on. This project is going to be released next month at a film festival put together by another SciArc alum. This was a piece that sort of was an exploration in materials that I did during my thesis semester. I was calling this project My Giant Vanity, and so a lot of my like visual art is really sort of focused on using like paints and plaster, and this was a fun installation I did for a course taught by Andrew Zago at SciArc. This installation is called The Saltier. We were looking at the X as a sort of typology, and my teammates and I actually put this together with over like 500 balloons and some deer fencing. I also sort of am working on a furniture collection. This is a tête-à-tête for, or also known as a gossip chair, for a collection I'm calling for Josephine. I also work as, or sort of freelance as a graphic designer. This was some work I did, or some visuals I put together for the EP launch of another sort of rapper, singer, Aisha. And also some of my student work. So this is work from a workshop I taught fall of 2019. And this is some work from my some students from this past fall at SciArc, the sort of 1A first year. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, my name is Kenneth Webb. First and foremost, I would like to thank Designing in Color for this opportunity to share a little bit about me, and the creative force of the universe for surrounding me and filling me and protecting me. I believe representation is an important part of life, especially when it comes to Black people and meeting our goals. Seeing oneself represented in the designed and built environment is crucial to one's psychological, physiological, and metaphysical well-being. Every aspect of human life on Earth, contrary to popular belief and or popular academic curriculum, has been and is being influenced by a Black intellectual, designer, architect, inventor, and so much more. From the cell phone microchip, Henry T. Sampson, to the laser used in LASIK eye surgery, Patricia Arabat, even the architectural style of Los Angeles. Shout out to Paul Revere Williams, a trailblazing Black architect who shaped LA's architectural aesthetic in the 1920s. Black bodies, from the beginning of time, have wielded the power of creativity and have always been changing the world for the better and creating ways for all people to live elevated lives. Personally, I'm one of 4 boys raised by a single mother who moved our family all the way from Chicago, Illinois, here to Phoenix, Arizona, when I and my twin brother were only 2 years old. Being half of the youngest in the family and a Black man in America, I have experienced many of the multiple facets of all life. I've always seen the world from multiple perspectives at once. And that's what my work so far represents. The multiplicity of perspectives and interconnected nature of our world and built and unbuilt environments, from the individual to the earth and the universe. I see it all as connected. By trade, I'm an architectural designer. In life, I'm an artist, a musician, a poet, an all-out creative, seeking unity through creativity. My design intent is not just to build and design a nice place that only I and the people I know may experience, but to elevate all living experiences, all power to all the people. Just like racism and aspects of oppression are not just interpersonal and individual, but legislative and systematic, we have to be that way as well with our creativity. I believe as creatives, designers, and builders of the physical environment, we must, starting now, begin to refocus, understand history, and its connection to our present. We must engage communities based on the context of immediate needs and create systems that support regeneration and reconciliation, correcting past wrongs, until eventually we have every aspect of design, of life, and every person participating in these systems, taking care of all life as if we are, which we really are, a singular body. As a creator, I will always be dedicated to the unity, peace, self-sufficiency, and self-sustainability of all people. These are just the overall ideas of what my work means, is about, and how I want to continue to move in manifesting a brighter future. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. Shalom.
Hey everybody, I'm Taylor, and I am very grateful for the opportunity to discuss the Unsight. I hope that you all enjoy it and that you all learn a lot from it, because I know that I have. So let's get started. How can women of color play more key roles in the design, management, and facilitation of the built environment? What does architecture, the urban fabric, and the overall built space look like and function as for the societal and cultural progression of Black women in the city? With acquiring a minor degree in women's studies and having a passion for women's rights, I sought to further explore Black feminist critique. I revere notable Black feminist theorists such as Bell Hooks and Patricia Hill Collins, and looked at how their stances could be further examined through architectural response. I knew that the challenge was for me to see if such an idea could even be implemented. But architectural conveyance of the concept of Black women claiming space is nonetheless of great importance. From studying utopian theories, I envisioned Black women's empowerment as an intervening element amidst white patriarchal space, aka the city. I decided early on to place this projected space in the city of Atlanta, Georgia, as it possesses a sustained history of African American oppression and progression. Of the social, cultural, and economic issues which women of color continue to face, I focused on issues of artistic expression, business and economic independence, and Black motherhood, and how these points manifest spatially into a network for Black women in the urban context. For my Master of Architecture thesis, I formulated a methodology which highlights key factors that will be applied to bring about this network. From research and mapping to speaking with others on this idea, I realized that this network can eventually expand into a global impact. In Southwest Atlanta, the Atlanta University Center consists of notable HBCUs such as Morehouse College and Spelman College, the most acclaimed school for women of color in the U.S. An expansion to the Spelman Art Museum establishes itself as an outdoor art and performance space. Its location at the center of campus signifies the demand for Black women to express themselves politically, culturally, and artistically. In Southeast Atlanta, Sweet Auburn is a historic district known for its cultivation of Black enterprise during the earlier 20th century, as well as for the historic park of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A second entity of this network locates itself adjacent to the recent MLK expansion as a business incubation center for Black women, complementing this existing facility that symbolizes Black male empowerment. Throughout each of the network sites, an architectural motif is present. Through materiality and permeability, their fragmented layout signifies orderliness and rootedness. Whereas the AUC and Sweet Auburn sites comprise orthogonal partitions, the third and central site downtown is manifested through disposition elements, further simulating the interruption of white patriarchy. The multitude of spatial typologies here cultivates a new typology. Feminist author James Bliss explains that Black women are often objectified, and inquires, if institutionality is the site for production and reproduction of subjects, is there an unsite for the unsubject? This main site of the Unsight is situated downtown on an elongated terrain, with its west end along a freight line of the well-known Belt Line. To form a relationship and buffer between the proposal and the line, an elevated outdoor terrace runs the entire length of the site as a navigational entity. Hosting functions of the peripheral sites, this site comprises a business community center at its south end and an art space at its central amphitheater. At the north end sits an existing structure of an office space for a freight train company. While much of the structure remains intact, most of it undergoes transformation. Here, housing and residential facilities are provided for the intended clients and their families. Despite functional and aesthetic differences that the site entails, it upholds consistency with the other sites, thereby reinforcing the Unsite as a spatial network within the city. As former Atlanta Mayor Kasim Reed expressed, transit is equity. To reinforce this notion, an expansion to the Martyr streetcar line takes place to connect all three sites, emphasizing collectivism between the sites and with the urban context. The Unsight begets a burning question. How can these numerous factors be implemented into a network that persists locally, nationally, and even globally? To become reality, iconography and social awareness are required. While this project may have started off as my thesis, I have come to realize its importance as a lifelong pursuit, to ensue, in some way, shape, or form, as a universal phenomenon. Thank you. Thank you all so much.